The Hedgeless Horseman here. I thought I'd just say a few words about the new node presentation. The first thing I noted is that they had up to 3 slides comparing the Pilbara Craton to the Cap Val Craton, and that's a change from previous presentations. And they highlight this time period. So here we have the Cap Val Craton and the Witwatersrand gold fields, which is located in the Cap Val Craton, and here we have Karratha and the Comet Well gold-bearing conglomerates, as well as Beaton's Creek gold-bearing conglomerates in the east. Pilbara mapped, and here you can see the age differences and what happened basically at these points in time in the 2 cratons. Here they have the carbon leader mapped, and the carbon leader is a coal seam in the Witwatersrand, which is super bonanza high grade. And Quinton's theory is that the coal that is embedded with the gold is basically of biogenic origin, that it was algal mats that attracted gold, made gold fall out of the seawater and attached itself to the algal mats. And then these algal mats, gold-bearing algal mats, basically get washed into gravels and stuff like that, thus creating the gold-bearing conglomerates. And then there are even younger conglomerates. I mean, this stretches from, there's even older as well. So basically 2.95 to 2.7 billion years ago. That's tens of millions of years where there were multiple gold-bearing reefs laid down. And this is the VCR, the Venterstorp Contact Reef, for example. And these younger conglomerates basically had their gold source from, I guess, both the one or more of the older conglomerates and the carbon leader. So during erosional events, older conglomerates got rolled up and deposited their gold into while creating newer sedimentary packages and gold-bearing reefs. So that's interesting. Then when we go over to the Pilbara, first of all, the oldest known conglomerate that NOAA are working on now is the Mount Roe basalt conglomerates. And then we have the Beaton's Creek in the Hardy Formation, which is a bit younger. And furthermore, NOAA believes that the conglomerate gold found in the West Pilbara is sourced from older conglomerates, at least the majority of the gold. So that's quite interesting, that the oldest official gold-bearing conglomerates that we know of is Comet Well and Purdy's Reward. And then we have the younger Beaton's Creek over here. And as we know, they're finding gold all over the place when we look at this map, for example. So they're finding a lot of, the red-blue dots are Mount Roe and the green-red are Hardy Formation. So they're finding gold all over the place. This is the East Pilbara, this is the West Pilbara. And they believe all this gold found in the Mount Roe here and the Hardy Formation, I assume, is sourced from older conglomerates. Yet the only mapped gold-bearing conglomerate that is older than the Mount Roe conglomerates on this slide is the South Dromedary conglomerates. And the South Dromedary conglomerates are located here in the Mosquito Creek Formation, which is basically the time equivalent of all the brown stuff you see here, which is the Melina Basin. So, even though the West is supposedly sourced from gold-bearing conglomerates that are older than the Comet Well conglomerates, we haven't really found any yet, at least officially. And at the same time, the Hardy Formation in the East Pilbara, which is sourced from the Mosquito Creek Formation, but it's also said that the majority is probably not sourced from older gold-bearing conglomerates. Is the only confirmed case where we have an older gold-bearing conglomerate. And Millennium Minerals talks a bit about this in one of their quarterly reports. So you can read here. They state, review of historical exploration data highlights outstanding conglomerate-hosted gold exploration potential. The review confirms the presence of gold mineralization within the dromedaries. Those are the gold-bearing conglomerates. 2 conglomerate-capped ridges located immediately east of the Golden Eagle plant at Nullagine. So these red lines here is gold-bearing conglomerates that Millennium Minerals has found. And here we have Nullagine and Beedens Creek is this area here, and this pink stuff is basically the Hardy Formation, and we have a fault line that runs something like this, and this Mosquito Creek stuff got eroded and deposited in the Hardy Formation here. But the main takeaway is that they're actually finding gold-bearing conglomerates in the East Pilbara in the Mosquito Creek Formation. And the Mosquito Creek Formation is the time equivalent of the Malina Basin, which is the brown and light brown stuff here. I think it also includes the green, actually. At least in a macro sense. Here you can see the outline basically of the ancient Malina Basin, which runs undercover here, and this is Fortescue and Hammersley Basin that is sedimentary packages that covers the oldest sedimentary package. And you can even see that off the coast of Pilbara there's these old sedimentary packages. The lies on is the closest package of rocks on top. The crustal rocks basically are the Malina Basin as well, or the Grey Super group. So this grey stuff here, which had gold-bearing conglomerates, is basically time equivalent of all the brown stuff you see here. And Novo's theory is that the conglomerates were finding it Comet Well and Purdy's Reward over here. And I guess all the dots in the West Pilbara are sourced from older conglomerates, which implies that it would be sourced from conglomerates that are, or at least were present in these this brown package of rocks. So that's one of the potential upsides, that the conglomerate source for the gold in all the Mount Roe conglomerates in the west potentially might be found, or at least pockets of it. We don't know the quality of the conglomerates back then, or the extent, etc., but we know there's looks to be a gold everywhere in the Fortescue group in the west, since they have mapped dots all over the place. So basically one potential upside is that we find the conglomerate source, older conglomerates that created all the newer gold-bearing reefs, including Comet Well and Purdy's Reward. And then we have further potential upside, because as we see here in the left side, the Witwatersrand, there were 2 much younger reefs that were created during erosional episodes in the Capwall Cradon. And in the Pilbara we have a bunch of additional younger sequences of volcanic and sedimentary rocks. So we have the Mount Roe basalt and its conglomerates. Then we had the thick Hardy Formation, which has been proven to be gold bearing, and there's been new dots popping up. And then we actually have Kailina Formation, Tumbiana Formation, Medina Formation, Urina Formation. And those are virtually untested. Nobody has basically cared to look at those, which DGO Gold talks a bit about in one of their, in a few of their reports. They're stating that they're actually looking into and finding gold in the younger sedimentary packages. So here we have the conglomerate gold found at Comet Well and Loudon's Patch and a bunch of other places. That's here beneath the Mount Roe basalt. Then we have thick sequence of Hardy Formation. They have outlined 3 targets. I don't know if these are all different targets, conglomerate targets within the Hardy Formation, or if some are lode gold or local, but whatever. And then they outline the Tumbiana Formation, the Urina Formation as prospective or potential targets for conglomerate gold. And this is another slide from them. This is from the South Pilbara near Tom Price, where they state this gold mineralization in the Purity Formation. Purity Formation, I think, is the name of the Tumbiana Formation, but in the south it has a different name. In the Mount Tom Price area, coupled with recent discoveries in Hardy Formation, provides strong support that the upper units of the Fortescue group, which are time equivalents of units which hold substantial gold mineralization in the watersrand basin, are also prospective, yet remain virtually untested. I think there's another slide where here's some interesting radiometric readings. Anyway, I can't find it now, but they said they found some gold-bearing shale in some of the younger formations. So that makes it even more interesting, because if we go into a bit more detail here, oh, that's wrong. We can see that Mount Roe starts here. That's the oldest sequence in the Fortescue Basin. Then we have Hardy Formation, which lies on top. And then it just starts piling on with Kailina. I think this is Tumbiana and this is Medina. But anyway, so you get the point about Quinton talking about a sandwich with a bunch of layers. These are all volcanic and erosional sequences of rocks. So it's basically a layered cake, and under the oldest one we have the Comet Well conglomerates, and then we have Hardy Formation, which Kairos are proven to be gold bearing here, and might be gold bearing here as well. And then it just piles on with additional packages of sedimentary rocks and stuff like that, which DGO Gold thinks might be prospective for additional gold bearing reefs, and they've actually found and confirmed gold, some of these sequences to be gold bearing in the south of Pilbara. So I mean, if we summarize this slide and the comments from Novo, Millennium Minerals and DGO Gold, is that in the future we might see a reality where we find the conglomerate sources to all the Western Pilbara golden conglomerates, which might be hidden here, where Malina is outcropping. There might be places where it's better preserved, potentially down dip undercover and whatnot. And then we also, as per DGO Gold, have the potential for additional gold-bearing reefs. Kind of like with Waterstrand. So maybe in the future we'll have a red dot at Tumbiana Formation, and Medina Formation, and Urina Formation. Because, as was the case here, there were newer conglomerates created when the older ones got rolled up. So I mean, these formations are potentially partly made up out of rolled up Monroe conglomerates and Hardy Formation conglomerates, and potentially the Malina Formation with when there were gold bearing source gold. I mean, the conglomerate source to all the other stuff. So I mean, we have no idea, but in the blue sky case, we will find the source of all the gold in the Monroe conglomerates and younger conglomerates, which possibly are found in the Malina Formation, or perhaps even some younger, older rocks. I don't know, but the gold came from somewhere, and a majority is believed to have come from older conglomerates, at least in the West. So that's that's basically one big potential upside, that we find the source, and then if DGO Gold are correct, we might find additional gold-bearing reefs in the younger sequences like Tumbiana, Urina, Piradi, and Medina, and those younger sequences are also found in the East Pilbara. So I mean, I just want to show you that the Pilbara story is far from mature, because these are thousands of square kilometers that have never been tested, and we have no idea what we will find in the coming years when more companies start to get some boots on the ground, and we start drilling deeper holes to potentially find some of the source conglomerates or source of any kind, if it's the remobilized lode gold that was actually sourced from gold bearing rocks and stuff like that, and all these younger formations that might be gold bearing because they were created when the older gold-bearing conglomerates got rolled up and deposited. That's about it. Thanks.